Today we're in the incredibly glamorous, professional and evenly lit location of my garage because I want to show you this. I've got my Christmas tree for this year. Very expensive it was too. It's made by a company called Twinkly, an Italian company. They do all sorts of light-based installation type stuff, but they also sell things for the home, like this Christmas tree. This is a 6 foot with 400 RGB LEDs on it. And the thing that's interesting about this, well, semi-interesting, is that this can all be controlled by an app for iOS or Android. And it can do all sorts of interesting displays, or at least it looks like that on the advert. The website is twinkly.com if you want to have a look at more of this stuff. Got a couple of other things down here though as well. First off, the missus decided she wanted a wreath if I was getting this thing. We didn't know whether this would be waterproof or not. I couldn't find out on the website. I guess not, but I just had no information anyway. On the front of it, it says indoor use only. So that's that question answered. So we're going to stick this inside somewhere. And in addition to this, I got this thing. Now this is where it kind of links in more with the kind of stuff I normally do. This does sound to light. So it's a USB type device. It's powered by USB. It doesn't actually connect with a computer or anything. What it does, it listens to sound. So you put this, say, near a speaker, you put your music on, and presumably the lights on your devices will dance in time to the beat or whatever it is. So I could try that out as well. I think that's about all I've got to say to start off with. So let's get in the box and have a good look at it. Oh, I've just remembered there's one other thing I was going to say. There's a lot of people that are kind of very much anti fake Christmas tree, and they're like, oh, you've got to get a real tree. And then there's other people that say, oh no, you want a fake one, an artificial one. You know, what I'd say to that is you do you. Don't try and convince other people that your idea is best. If you want a real tree, get a real tree. They do bulbs that you can just put on a real tree, like a string of bulbs, or they do these artificial ones that are already like with all the bulbs sort of on them. So you can do either or neither. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, don't get into one of those kind of arguments in the comments. Oh, artificial trees. Who cares, really? You know, it's not important. There's more important things going on. Right. Okay. I think I'm vanishing here. Hold on. I can't fold this down. I'm starting to look like Oddity Archive. Hold on. That's better. Right. Okay, now let me get this out of here and we'll see if we can put it together. It seems to come in, that looks like it's either 2 or 3 parts, not too sure. Instruction booklet here. I'll tell you what, the construction of this is like a step above your normal artificial tree. Very weighty metal branches on it. Now there's really no point me going into the price of this because they cost as much as they cost. Depending upon where you buy them, the prices can vary wildly. I got this from a shop in the UK that now no longer has stock, and they were waiting on stock to send it to me. So looks like they didn't get too many of them in this year. So I don't think it's the kind of thing you'll see in the sale, but you might get lucky. So what I'd suggest is just shop around. The Twinkly website has links to places where you can get these from. Anyway, let's put this together. I've got my instruction booklet. It looks like there's only 2 halves to it, and then we've got the base here as well. So it shouldn't be too difficult. I'll be able to get this table out of the way. The 7'5" tall one that they also do, that wouldn't have fit in my lounge. It's just a little bit too tall for the ceiling. So 6 foot is the maximum size I could have. Now, according to the picture here, you've got the stand and then A, B and C going upwards like that. And you can see we've got them labelled here. There's B, there's A. I don't see a C. Perhaps C is the one that is on the 7.5 foot tree. Maybe I've just got A and B on mine. And the stand folds out like this. And we've got 3 screw-in things here which hold the tree, just like you'd hold a normal tree really, that screw through the edge of there and hold it in its open position. So shouldn't take long this at all. No, I think I've found the power cable. It's inside the branches here. And we've got a UK plug on this, which is good. It unscrews from this part here. So first off, I think this cap just comes off here. Yeah, there we go. And this is A going into the stand. Right, so all the branches are on hinges. Now, don't be too concerned about how it looks to start with, because they do say it needs about 45 minutes worth of kind of spreading things out to make it look how it should do, but it doesn't look too bad already, I'd say. Now before I put the top half on, I just wanted to show you this. In the centre here where it connects, inside the middle of there, I don't know if you can make that out, but it's basically a barrel plug type power connector. I want to show you the wires here. They go between the branches like this, up in a spiral, just as though you'd wired the tree up yourself. So there's nothing particularly clever going on. They don't have integrated wires going down the branches or anything like that. It's basically an artificial tree with a set of their lights attached. Okay, so far so normal. The clever stuff is just about to happen though, because once I plug this in, I then hold down this button on here, which then activates the Bluetooth. I've got the app on my phone to connect up to that. And then I've got a choice of whether to get the tree up to my home Wi-Fi or to have it as a hotspot effectively, so I could do Wi-Fi direct just to the tree and then it remains off the network. Anyway, let's plug it in and see if it can actually see my network from here. Not too sure how good the signal is. Right, so it's found the Wi-Fi, just connecting up now. It's also found the neighbour's Wi-Fi. I don't know his password, so I'm going to use my own. Okay, now the app is telling me to map my lights for the most accurate effect. So let's go ahead and do that. So the phone now is looking at the tree and mapping where all the lights are. There's no instructions, but I've got to guess. Oh, there's a bar at the top there. I'm just wondering if I have to kind of wander around it. This progress bar has not moved at all. I've got an X to tap at the top. Let's try that again. Okay, let's give this another go. Map lights. Now this is really quite clever. This is where the magic lies in this whole system really. Once you start mapping your tree, each of the individual lights will flash with a different sequence to one another. You'll see the progress bar along the top there. What's happening is the app is looking at the tree, looking at the flashing lights and determining where each light is on the tree, and it's drawing out a map of those positions. And once it's got this map of the tree, it's then able to activate each light individually to be able to produce the various different effects. Now, the first time I set it up in the garage, I used the quick option, and I'll be honest, the instructions were a little bit vague. I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was supposed to do, but it seemed to work. But once I put it in the house, I went through the more elaborate one. I want to explain to you how that one works. So what happens with this is you scan the tree just as before with the flashing lights, and then you scan it again. And what happens with this is any lights that it couldn't see from the position that you were stood at, it turns either amber or red. The ones it could see, it turns green. So the idea is you move around to the position where you can see amber or red bulbs, you then scan it again, and you keep scanning it until those also go green. So once you work your way around the whole tree and there are no bulbs that are in any colour other than green, you can then upload that data, that full 3D map of the lights on your tree, into the cloud. Now I'm pausing it here because this is important. The ongoing future functionality of your expensive Christmas tree lights relies upon two things. One, you keeping a copy of this application on a smartphone, but two, well, this is out of your hands. You've got to cross your fingers that that cloud-based 3D reconstruction service remains in operation. Now with that said, at the time of recording, the process worked fine. It was quick and easy once I understood exactly what I was supposed to be doing, and now my tree is ready to demonstrate and show some of these effects. Now it's got a number of different built-in effects, and with these you can just display one if you wish, but you could also put them into a playlist, choose what order to play them in, and how long each one will display for. So let me show you a few of these now. On the right of the screen, we've got the application on the smartphone. That gives you a preview of what the effect's going to look like. And then, of course, on the left, we've got the tree showing you the real thing. If you're not a fan of the modern effects, you can do things like this vintage one or just a normal multicoloured one like this, but really, if you're going to do that, you might as well just get yourself some normal Christmas tree lights. Another thing that you can do with this, though, is that it's got a store to download additional effects. I say it's a store. Every effect in there is free, but they're just not built into the application. So you can see like this target one that I've downloaded, and then there's another one called Doors, which will come on the screen in a second. Which is a little bit distracting. But then again, if you find there's a particular aspect of one of the built-in effects you don't like, more often than not, you'll find you're able to customize it to better suit your needs. For example, with this one, I can change the color, the speed, the width of the stripes. Some let you adjust the brightness as well. Once you've got it set just how you like it, you can then save it as a new effect. And in addition to the ones that you've got built into the application and you can download, you can also create your own. What I'm doing here is I'm drawing on the tree with the lights using the colours at the bottom there, putting them into rows, and then fast forward a little bit, I've got some effects I put on there, some sparkles on the top. It looks very nice. Oh, just to finish off this section, on the right hand side you see those cubes. Those are there to represent 3D type effects where the light seems to travel through the tree. You'll notice it on this one where the wall lights up at the back after the lights travel through it. So there's a few of those in there as well. There's effects for everyone. I don't think anyone could say there weren't enough different options available on this. I'll just show you what the bulbs look like in close-up. They're your normal RGB LEDs. They're kind of flat-ended. Also, the tree that I got with this one, really quite a nice artificial tree. Quite a good realistic-ish looking tree. Certainly doesn't look too fake anyway, so I'm quite impressed with that. Now let's go back to the garage again, because I did set it up, as I say, in a simpler version earlier on, but it did still do the same kind of effects. It's just not as accurate as the later setup. I've got to say my favourite effects so far are the ones like this that are waves, where it knows where the layers are and can change the colours layer by layer. I haven't seen that before on Christmas lights, so that's particularly novel. And that fireworks one where it goes up and then the firework goes off, bang, and then you get a little sparkly bits afterwards. I feel like I'm on a cooking show for some reason. You're having a table in front of me. But anyway, the next thing that we're doing now is this sound to light thing, which should be dead easy, because all we have to do is plug it in, sync it up with the app. I've got some music on here, and we'll play the music and tree should react to it. That's about all there is to it. So USB socket on the end there, plug I should say, one button on it. I've got my power here, so plug that into there, obviously the wrong way up as USBs always are, and it's flashing now, so where have I put my phone? Right, so now I've got to connect another device up to this application. Right, so I've updated the firmware for both the Sound to Light device and the Christmas tree. Updating firmware for a Christmas tree, that's very 2020, isn't it? But yeah, it's done both now, and they seem to be recognising each other in the application. I've also noticed when I've been looking through here, there's a timer as well, so you can set a time for it to come on and off. It's only got the one time in though, so it's just got an off and an on time, or vice versa. You can't have different times, different days of the week. You can't have on in the morning and then again in the evening. You've just got the simple on and off time, but still better than nothing. I'd also like to draw your attention to the top of the screen here, because notice I'm able to turn the lights on and off from within the application, as well as adjust their brightness. Right, now on with some music. Well, I'm having a remarkably successful day today. Everything I've tried has worked, which is unusual for me. Now, some of these sound to light things, I thought, well, it's just doing its own pattern. It's not really recognising the sound. But they are, although this one, it's like the red lights that are recognising it. So if I'm quiet, it'll still do something, but it's only when I speak that the red lights will all light up, as you can see. So yeah, works fine. Let's get on and try that wreath. I don't know if you call them wreath, garland, whatever. Anyway, let's get it out of the box and just set that one up quickly and have a look at that as well and see if we can get them all synced together. Yeah, so the rear of this is just a metal ring. So if you had like a nail on the wall, you could just hook it over very easily. You don't have to use any kind of special fittings. The setup process for the wreath is very similar to that of the tree, where you map the positions of all the bulbs. Of course, we're not dealing with a 3D aspect here, so there are no 3D type effects, but there are still plenty of alternatives to choose from. Now, one of the big headline features of the whole Twinkly system is that you're able to link a number of different devices together. You can either synchronize them up to display the same effect, or you can have them all part of a scene. So that was something I wanted to try with these two items. However, whenever I selected one, the other one was greyed out. I've just had a quick look on the website, and it turns out that these two devices aren't supposed to be able to be synced together. Not because they're different shapes and sizes, but because they're using different kind of bulbs. This uses RGB and this uses RGBW. So if you plan on syncing a number of different devices together, have a good look and see what kind of bulbs they're using. If you go on the website there, they'll give you more information about them before you click buy it now. As it is, for me, it doesn't matter. These are going to be in different rooms anyway, so they don't have to sync together. If you want, you can have the same effect on both, like Carnival that I've got here, but they're unaware of each other's existence. Another thing I found out while playing around with the app is you can name your devices with normal names. So I've called this one Wreath, I've called that one Tree, rather than using the default names, which didn't make any sense. So there you go. That's a look at some of the devices from Twinkly. If you want to know more about these, go on their website, twinkly.com. This is not a sponsored video. I've bought these for myself at great expense. Got to say, much prefer the Tree, as you'd imagine, but the number of lights is very important. Whilst this can do all sorts of effects like that firework one we had before, the effect is quite diminished the less LEDs you have. So if I was you, I'd recommend, if you're interested in these, buy a set of bulbs, but buy the pack with the most bulbs that you can possibly get, and then put them on your own tree. I think that's probably the best way to go about this. But I was quite impressed with the way it maps and all that kind of stuff. But again, as I mentioned earlier on, if this app dies and the service isn't supported anymore, then you're just going to be left with a tree that doesn't do very much at all, or a set of bulbs that doesn't do much. So bear that in mind, because I've had so many things in the past that I bought online that had some cloud-based service connected with them. The company either shut down or was taken over by someone else, or just discontinued that service, and you're just left with, well, a load of rubbish. So that's it for the moment. That's a nice message to finish on a Christmas one, isn't it? But there you go. That was the Twinkly bulbs. Thanks for watching.